So now that I have the Pixel 9 Pro Fold in my possession, I think one of the first things that I can quickly knock out to answer a lot of questions that you guys seem to have is to grab my original Pixel Fold, take some photos, and let's break down the camera performance between the Pixel Fold and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Let's get the boring ones out of the way first. This is the selfie camera on the cover display of the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. You can see the phone over there on the side, and it's fine, right? It's fairly well detailed. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. If we go to the next one, this is the Pixel Fold 1, and I actually do notice a couple of things. So one thing is that it is a little bit cooler looking to me. This is definitely a warmer image than you get on the new Pixel. That is interesting. We'll have to see if this does continue. Switching to portrait mode, this is the 9 Pro Fold. Let me move my cursor out of the way. And if we go to the Pixel Fold, it actually does, by default, punch in just a little bit. It does, again, look a little bit cooler to me. They both struggle with my runaway hairs, but again, not a massive difference either way. On the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, both selfie cameras are exactly the same, so there's no need to retest them, whether it's this one or it's the one on the inside. It's the exact same sensor, but on the Pixel Fold 1, they do change, so we're going to quickly look at that one as well. This is the internal selfie camera, and we go to the portrait mode. Again, we zoom in. It's very, very similar to the cover display, but I felt like I should at least show it to you. If we flip this thing around though and use the cover display as our viewfinder to take a selfie using the primary sensor, this is what we get from the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I'm looking absolutely enthused to be taking a selfie. On the original Pixel Fold, it is strikingly similar. Let's go to portrait mode on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and this is what we have. Again, kind of struggling with the runaway hairs, but this is a pretty typical Pixel portrait shot. And from the original, very similar. Might have actually done a little bit better with the runaway hairs, but overall, very, very similar. Now we can get into the fun stuff. So this is the primary sensor on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and it is the same sensor that we have on the original Pixel Fold. Will we see a big difference? I don't know. We're going to find out. This is not a particularly well-lit area, and it is an area that has some weird lights and things going on, so we'll see how we're performing here. If we zoom in, we can see what kind of detail we have here. Spider-Man not completely in focus, but I think that overall this looks just fine. Jumping to the original Pixel Fold, and things do look very, very similar. I didn't quite line things up exactly the same, but the colors look very, very similar. The detail, I think it did a slightly better job focusing on Spider-Man, but that's probably more user error than anything. These look extraordinarily similar. Scene number 2, if we zoom in, let's see what kind of detail we have, maybe using this text here as a gauge. Pay attention to the colors. Will we see that warmer view, that warmer processing again? I think we did. I think we have a slightly warmer image. If we zoom in, the detail does appear to be very, very similar, but again, we do have a slightly warmer image on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, and that is something I am actually here for. This is always sort of an interesting test just to see how it handles exposure and white balance. To me, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is doing a pretty good job. This looks quite natural to me. And the original Pixel Fold looks very, very similar. Although I do want to zoom in down here into this corner. We are getting a little bit of grain here. And let's jump over to the original. Maybe a little bit more grain. Yeah, definitely. Definitely more grain down here on the old Pixel Fold. That is interesting. It's the same sensor, but they've definitely done something to the processing because there is more grain down there in that darker area. Stepping outside and taking a photo of this rose, I'm expecting these two to look very, very similar in terms of your depth of field, details, and so forth. Colors look similar, but again, we have more of a cooler image. And I want you to pay attention to this area over here. Am I crazy, or does it look like there's a bit more grain, a bit more noise once again on the older Pixel Fold? That is very interesting. Now, one thing that the Pixel 9 Pro Fold has that the original Pixel Fold didn't have is the ability to switch to the ultra wide for macro focus, which allows you to get in and take an image like this, which actually really kind of surprised me how well it was able to focus. That is a very, very good shot. Quickly switching to the ultra-wide lens, I want to pay attention to primarily one thing right now. So we're all the way over to my sign, and then we're all the way over to this clip on my desk, and let's see if the new Pixel Fold is indeed wider than the old Pixel Fold, and it appears to be because we're pretty close to that there, but we're all the way into the middle of that curtain with it. So it is definitely a wider angle. I think it says 0.5 versus 0.6. So that is good. Let's zoom in and see if we can tell some detail looking at the lettering on my window cleaner there, my glass cleaner on the original Pixel Fold. Fairly grainy. This is the new one. Since we are zoomed out further, I'm imagining, yeah, it's going to be very, very similar. So I would guess these two are going to look very, very similar, but slightly wider field of view on the new one. Stepping outside, all of these colors do look quite natural. Definitely seen some grain, some noise in these darker areas on the fringes. With the original Pixel Fold, we're punched in just a little bit. Colors look very similar. The grain looks very similar. That's going to be your big difference between these two devices when it comes to the ultra-wide. Let's talk about the telephoto lens. Now, these should be, again, the same lens. This is 5x optical zoom. Let's punch into my crepe myrtle, and you can see what kind of detail we're getting here on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. It's fine, right? That's a decent looking shot. Going to the original Pixel Fold, and it is extraordinarily similar. Again, though, we keep seeing maybe slightly lighter, but I think a little bit warmer on the new device. Detail is very, very similar, though. I don't think you're seeing a whole lot of difference there. Correct me if I'm wrong, tell me I'm crazy, but I think that the new one is just slightly warmer. Sticking with that 5X, we have my dog Rose waiting for me to play ball with her, asking why I won't stop looking at my phones and playing with my computer. Zooming in, you can really see how just fed up she's getting with me ignoring her all day. If we switch to the old Pixel Fold, guys, it's really, really similar. You're going to be hard-pressed to find a substantial, radical difference between these two because it's the same sensor. Let's punch into 20x. That is the furthest that it is able to zoom. This is the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. This is the Pixel Fold 1. Now, that is actually surprising because the Pro Fold does look significantly sharper, clearer, and more detailed. I am quite surprised by that result. Interesting. So now we have the primary sensor in some low and sort of strange lighting. Again, you can see this is the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And I think it's actually doing a pretty good job. You can see some fuzz sitting there on the shelf. If we jump over to the original, the biggest difference here, I think, is just the way that it's handling the colors. And that seems to just be a theme for this. It's handling the colors in a very different way. Details look similar, albeit, again, a bit grainier. So now we have the lights shut off and we're using night sight. Again, we have more Australian Shepherd fuzz. I think this looks actually really surprisingly clean for how dark the shelf actually was. And the original Pixel Fold handles it nearly identically. And then lastly, still in low light, and I think that this is going to do a great job of really illustrating the differences here. You tell me what changes from this to this. It's that color temperature. It is giving you a warmer hue. I've said it a million times, but that's what's coming through for me. So we are shooting video on both devices, 4K 30 FPS. So as I switch back and forth between the two of them, pay attention to the stabilization, the color, the clarity, the audio, all of that good stuff. You let me know in the comments which of these you think is doing a better job. My gut tells me it's going to be hard to pick between the two. The last thing that I need, or I guess the last couple of things that I just want to show you about the Pixel 9 Pro Fold and how it differs from the original Pixel Fold, I can show you from this view. We're just going to have this thing pointed down at my mouse pad. So we do have a few new options in terms of just things you can do in the camera. So we have the new option of Add Me, which you can sort of see a description of here. You take a picture, and then you come out of the picture, you swap places with someone, they take the next picture, and then it creates an end image that was as if all of you were there. So basically, if you're taking a group photo, you don't have to hand your phone to a stranger to be in the photo anymore. So that is a pretty cool option. As you can actually see right there, I already mentioned it, you have a macro mode that it can switch to. It's actually trying to focus on my mouse pad. That is a cool option as well. In the bottom left, you do have Pro Controls. Now, we have some of these on the original Pixel Fold, but you do not have things like control for manual focus. You do have it on the 9 Pro Fold. And as you can see here, you actually have focus peaking. You see how it's turning purple? That means that the place that is colored purple should be in focus, and if you zoom in, you can see that that is exactly the case. For video, you actually have night sight video. So what's going to happen is you're going to film the video, it's going to be uploaded to the cloud, and it's going to be processed to be brightened up, and you can sort of see what that before and after is meant to look like. You also do have zoom enhance. Now, this should be coming to the original Pixel Fold at some point as well. Maybe it's already landed on yours. It's hard to say. But what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in to good old Rutherford here, and it should be able to use generative AI to upscale this image and make a clearer, better version of this shot zoomed in after the fact. We'll take a look and see exactly how good this looks now. So here's the original, and if we zoom in, you can see what kind of detail we have, or maybe lack thereof. And if we go to the zoom enhanced version, this is what we have. It's definitely not perfect, but is it sharper and clearer? Yeah, I think it is. So that was a lot of images and a couple of videos there. What are my overall thoughts? I am actually surprised how big of a difference there is. When it comes to the telephoto and the ultra wide, ignore it, forget it. They're going to be basically exactly the same. When it comes to the primary sensor though, what I am seeing is improved performance in terms of the graininess, in terms of noise in certain situations and lower light areas. And I am also seeing a shift towards a warmer tint with the photo processing, which is something that I actually have wanted for quite a while. These still do look like pixel images. You might find them to be slightly over contrasted or slightly over sharpened, but that's what pixel photos look like. But at least for now, they're losing a little bit of that overly cooled look that I think I've missed when I go to a OnePlus phone or a Samsung phone. This is sort of nudging itself in that direction. Now, I am going to do a comparison between the Pixel 9 Pro Fold and the OnePlus Open, and maybe the Z Fold 6 as well. I don't know if I will or not, because the changes are so minimal, and I've already done a similar video with the old Fold. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Definitely the OnePlus Open, though. Kind of curious to see how those two stack up. At any rate, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.